Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Kalam L, and this is Talk with the Titans. You know what? Tonight's show is a special show. This show is actually entitled The Kemetic Mystery Found in the Bible, Quran, and in Freemasonry. We've actually got a panel today. It's not a traditional show. This is actually more of like a study session. So you're going to get into the mind and eyes and resources that we use here amongst Team Osiris to actually study the works that we find within inside of history, we find within inside of literature, language, linguistics, you know what, so many stuff, scriptures, Hebrew scriptures, Islamic scriptures, and so forth and so forth. You know what, we've got on the panel today my brother Khonsu Shesmu Amun, Peace King. And we've also got in on the panel Ibri Math, which is Yazoo, and we've also got brother Khonsu that will be coming. Brother Kufu that will be coming in very shortly. But brother Khonsu, how you doing, King?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Peace, King. Everything's beautiful, man. Ready to build. You know, ready to have some fun this evening, man.
Excellent, excellent. Now, this particular show was actually kind of inspired from a post which I posted up on Facebook itself. I want to see if I can actually get the post out. Let's see. Can I get the post out? Let's see if I can get the post out. So basically on Facebook, I believe it was yesterday, posted up, initiated secrets revealed. Most people are unaware that amongst the elite and initiated in the religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam is that they hold the Egyptian sage Djehuty, Lord Thoth, in the most highest of regards. In fact, they identify him as the dark-skinned Egyptian prophet known in their scriptures as Enoch, Idris, responsible for religious laws, astronomy, scripture, and so much more. And then I followed by giving an account from the 11th century biography of Hermes or Djehuty by Al-Mubashir. Now, I know a lot of you from the Kemetic community is going to be saying sacrilege. I know a lot of you from the Hebrew community will be saying, nah, I don't know where you're coming with that. And the Muslim community is astaghfirullah, you know, to be equating these things. But unfortunately, as I said, most people are actually unaware of these facts. That's actually, you know, the most elite, the most scholarly academics knew about these things written within inside of the history books itself. So we're going to delve into a few of those sources really soon. But I'd like to give you a quick overview of the types of information that we'll be going into today. We're going to actually be jumping into, you know, Kemeticism, focusing highly on the Niter, Djehuty, and then we're going to be going into Gnosticism, Freemasonry, the liberal arts. We're going to be traveling into how this information was dispersed within inside of Hebraic teachings, dispersed into Christian teachings, and dispersed into Islamic teachings, as well as the revival of this information within inside of the European community during the time of the Renaissance, during the 15th century, with one of the greatest names, the greatest family names you may have ever heard, coming from Italy, which is the Medici family. I know a lot of you may have heard of this famous Medici family, and in particular Cosimo de' Medici, who was actually responsible for bringing and doing a revival of these type of mystery systems. He actually stopped his teacher from actually translating literature from Plato to delve into the Hermetic teachings, because he knew about the fame and wonders of this great nature, which is Hermes, Trismegistus amongst the Greeks, amongst the Egyptians. They knew him as Djehuty, and he said, stop everything you're doing and please translate this work called the Hermetica. So we're going to delve into all of these different types of topics. Khonsu, I don't know if I've missed anything out. Please just jump in real quickly and let our audience know what else we're going to be discussing.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You pretty much covered everything. We're also going to talk about African philosophy. We were talking about this earlier, and I actually forgot to mention that, because I do want to show respects to that, to those who are practitioners of, like myself, of Ifa and Palo, or what is considered a Tata or Paleto in the Congo of Africa. So we also want to tie that in as well, because it is an integral part of of history and initiate systems, one of the oldest initiate systems. So I definitely want to mention that as well. Come on.
Definitely. So, you know, I want to jump back into the controversial post that I posted up on Facebook itself. Because a lot of people are going to be like, nah, I've never heard this information before. What are you talking about, Djehuty? That's Kemet. That's got nothing to do with our Hebrew doctrine. That's nothing to do with, you know, Islamic doctrine and so forth and so forth. But I'm actually going to pull out something right now. This is coming from, as I mentioned before, a book by the author, Al-Mubashir. And he gives an account of Hermes, okay? This account, he says here that Hermes of the Hermesis, which is the Hermetica, was born in Egypt in the city of Memphis, there in Greek. He is Hermes, and then it was pronounced Hermes, meaning Mercury. He was also named upon him be peace Trismism among the Greeks, amongst the Arabs, Idris, among the Hebrews, Enoch. He is the son of Jared, son of Mahalalel, son of Canaan, son of Enosh, son of Seth, son of Adam, and may there be peace upon them. He further gives a description of this particular person that is known as Hermes, or Djehuty, or Idris, or Enoch, depending on your tradition. He says that he was peace, upon him be peace, a man of dark complexion, of full stature, bald, of handsome face, thick bearded, of pleasant lineament and perfect arm span, broad shoulders, big boned, but of little flesh, with flashing dark-lined eyes, unhurried in his speech, often silent, his limbs at rest. And then he goes on to actually explain, you know, how he's mentioned with inside of the Quran and even inside of the Bible itself, and the mighty things he did with inside of Egypt. He goes on to say, Hermes left Egypt and went around the whole earth. He returned to Egypt, and God raised him to himself there. God, the Exalted, said, and we raised him to a high place, which is actually a reference of it in the Quran. For those of you who know this particular verse, which is Quran Surah 19, 57. And he says here that was after he lived 82 years. In 72 languages, he called the people of the entire earth's population to worship the Creator, the Most High. So God granted him wisdom, al-hikmah, so that he spoke to them in their different languages, taught them, and educated them. He built for them 108 great cities, the smallest of which was Edessa. He was the first who discovered astrology, and he established for each religion a model of religious practice for them to follow, which corresponded to their particular views. Kings were his servants, and the whole earth's population and the population of the islands in the seas obeyed him. 4 kings served him, each of them by his order. Upon him be peace, was in charge of the whole earth. The first of them was Elias, meaning merciful. The second, his son Awus. The third, Asclepius, who is also known as Imhotep. And the fourth, Amun. So this is one of the accounts that's actually written amongst the Arabs within inside of the 11th century. We also have various accounts from the Christians. The first, the way I found it was the first Christians during the 7th and 8th century was making reference to this person who's known as Hermes, being Enoch of the Bible as well. So here are, you know, a snippet of accounts showing that from ancient times, from the 11th century, from the 7th century, 8th century, you know, the Muslims, the Jews, the Christians viewed that the Egyptian deity or the Egyptian ancestor was part of their particular tradition. He was ascribed as a scribe, an astrologer. He was raised up to high portions. For those of you who know the Ethiopian records in the book of Enoch or the book of the giants, it talks about him being raised up into the stars amongst the angels and being taught various different things, and came down and taught humanity a lot of things. Now, this particular Hermes is actually recorded not only within inside of Egyptian records, he's recorded inside of Greek records, he's recorded inside of the Roman records as Mercury as well. He's also recording amongst the Persian records. He's recorded inside of you know, European records as being one of the forebearers of Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism. And he's also mentioned, where else is he mentioned? There's even new studies coming out to say he was also a teacher of the Dogons themselves. So this is new information that's currently being put forward. But you know what? I'm going to open it back up now. So that's where it all started. That's where it all started. This post that was posted showing that, you know, the intellectuals amongst the Jews and the Christians, and I can give you a whole list of other places as well, you know, where how they identify this particular person as being their sage and their heritage and their prophet and so forth, and how the information was disseminated amongst them. But I'm going to take a step back now. I'm going to take a step back because I've spoken for quite some time. And I'm going to hand it over to my brother Khonsu, who's going to take over. I'm going to jump back in again and give you some more information.
Most definitely, brother. And I'm glad that you kind of set the tone for what we're going to delve into. First things first is when we're talking about the secret teachings or the sacred teachings, a little bit of both. Things that are sacred are being held secret. A lot of times people get or feel a certain kind of way about a secret being withheld. The reason is because it requires a certain level of discipline and teaching when we're talking about initiative systems of knowledge. You have different schools of thought in which a discipline is taught in a meticulous way in order for you to be what is called an adept. It has also been put in different forms of religion, particularly the priesthood or the secular portion of religion, where things are taken in a deeper, more allegorical way. We talk about allegory or esoterics. We talk about the exoteric meaning, which is the meaning that's forthright, the meaning that's on the outside. Someone tells you something initially in scripture or text, that's what it is. But it also has older or cryptic meanings, which are in a codex form for those that are trained to decipher it amongst those who are not initiated. One good example in the Bible would be Jesus speaking to his initiated disciples in parables, such as the book of Psalms, or, you know, he's speaking without speaking. And those who have an ear, lend that ear. So Jesus is speaking to those who are initiates of his covenant. And it's given reference if you go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 5, verse 9. The order of Melchizedek is one of the initiate systems that he was a part of. And when you look at the signing, or let's say the signature, it will be the bloodline. Well, that is an esoteric or allegorical meaning in that regards. So there are a lot of hidden meanings within standardized texts and forms of learning. So when we get into certain worldly aspects of understanding hidden knowledge, we go into things like the Trivium and the Quadrivium. These are the 7 liberal arts. These things are used as a means of commerce and function in the real world. Okay, we understand these functions in the real world, and this gives you the ability to be a worldly person, a person of knowledge that can then traverse back and forth. And because you was regarded as a person of knowledge, you were a traveling man, okay, or a traveling person going to and fro, east to west. Now, this is allegorically speaking. What that gave way to are guilds called Masonic lodges or free Masonic lodges. So we start talking about Freemasonry. Now, in earlier modern times, Freemasonry has gotten the moniker of being an Illuminati group, a luminous group of people, or some people that are very secretive in world domination. Actually, that could be farther from the case, because Masonry, as we talk further into this program, goes all the way back to Africa, and it is a philosophical system of mind building. I'm gonna try to keep it real basic so that everyone can get a general understanding. It's all about the development of your mind, the psychological development of your mind relative to your creator being the universe. Whatever creator that you give an attachment to does not matter, but your mind center is in correlation with your outer. So that would be the micro juxtaposed to the macro. You would be the micro universe juxtaposed to the macro universe. It's one and the same. Hence, a line of symmetry. But yeah, I'm going to turn it back over to Kalam, but I kind of wanted to give some quantum mechanics and aspects to it.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm here as well, reading the comments. I'm going to get straight to the comments in a little while as well, because I definitely want this to be as as interactive as possible. You're going to get into, you know, the minds of Team Osiris, get into the minds of how we study out here. So you could ask any questions and we'll do our best to actually answer them, give you resources to go back into, give you sources to check up as well. So for those of you who actually don't know anything about Titans TV or Talk with the Titans was birthed out of the idea that the intellectual giants, the titans of our community, should have a well-organized platform to present, discuss, and debate critical information affecting our community proposed by you, our audience members, our community. So in truth, this show, you know, was really, for me, was a show in the making for a long time, because I'm seeing a lot of people out here from Speaker's Corner. I'm seeing my brother Nature TV, Speaker's Corner London. He's here in the building with us. Quite a few other people as well. Zoe 321 as well. Lamb of God as well. So I see a lot of you lot are here with us right now, enjoying these shows. But I know a lot of you lot have been asking questions about Kemet, what is Kemeticism, and so forth. And I thought to myself, you know what? Most of you lot are coming from a religious background, in terms of, you know, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, some atheists as well, but no one has really explained in language that you kind of understand about what Kemet is. So, you know, a lot of this information is kind of a presentation that I was really building up to actually give to you guys as well. So you lot can kind of get in tune with what's going on in terms of the American community, American conscious community, and what they talk about in terms of, you know, Kemet and so forth. So, I see there's a question over here, Common Sense, Peace Family. He says here, has it been deciphered in terms of the Medonetter or the hieroglyphs itself? You know what? Most people are, you know, how can I say it, are indoctrinated by Eurocentrism. Eurocentrism meaning that, you know, their worldview is centered upon the European narrative. The European is at the top, superior. They're the ones who was able to bring forward this language called the hieroglyphs or the Medonetter into common awareness. But this can be further from the truth. We have records going back. You know what? Let me go further back, actually. The Medonetter itself, the last inscription that was actually written in Philae in Upper Egypt, written in Philae in Upper Egypt. Last one was in 394, 395, during that period, AD. This is well into the Roman period, well after the Roman period. There was the last hieroglyph actually written. Hieroglyphs isn't all that, or the hieroglyphical system has never really been out. How can I put it? Out of the minds of people. People were always able to read these things. It's just that the Europeans never knew how to read the language. They're the ones who first discovered the hieroglyphs in their minds. For example, the Americas, there were already people living there, but they were the first Europeans to discover the Americans. Yet there was Africans and Chinese and other people traveling over to the Americas a long time ago. It's the same thing with the Medonetter. It has been around for a long period of time. It's just that in its written form, okay, written form in terms of, how can I put it? On terms of temples and tombs and so forth. The last inscription was in 394, but we have records going back to Apollonius in the 5th century. We got records going back to who else? Dhul-Nun, who is in the 9th century. We've got records of in the 10th century of Ibn Washir. Which is actually, I'm going to read you from Ibn Washir right now. This is actually Ibn Washir right here. I don't know if you can see it. Ancient alphabets and hieroglyphs, characters explained with an account of the Egyptian priests, their classes, initiations, and sacrifices in the Arabic language. See, what most people are unaware of is the missing millennium within side of Egyptology, or within side of the study of ancient Egypt. Now, he says here, learn then, O reader, the secret mysteries and treasures of the hieroglyphs, not to be found and not to be discovered anywhere else. For merely a knowledge of them could not be acquired but by immense pains and expenses, by a great number of years and a long courses of travels. And now, lo, these treasures are laid open for thy enjoyment. Take possessions of them, keep and guard them with the utmost care and secrecy. Profoundly learned philosophers and curious students only have attained this knowledge. Let us now proceed to explain the hieroglyphs promised above. So in this book itself, it has a whole list of hieroglyphs, okay, going back in time, explaining them, explaining exactly what they mean, okay. their letter correspondence, as well as their phonetic correspondence, as well as their ideological meanings as well. So we have people going back into the 10th century. We have records of the Egyptian priests themselves well into the 13th century being called upon by the caliphs and other people to actually read from the walls of Egypt and given a correct translation of the things that are written on tombs, walls, and shawabtis, which are little statues as well as obelisks. So you know what, is, when someone asks me, has the hieroglyphs been deciphered? I'm like, I know this is something new amongst the conscious community. It's a new question that's been raised amongst the conscious community. But when you step outside of the Eurocentric paradigm and you start taking trips inside of Africa, inside of other places of the world, you see that they have this information being passed down in some places in secret societies, and in other places amongst the academics, it's open. Champollion simply broke the code for the Europeans. He was actually taught by a Coptic of how to read the language itself as well, which is something that is not really spoken about, but they will let you know that, Champollion was the one to decipher the hieroglyphs, but it couldn't be further from the truth. Okay, so I'm just going to read some comments, just making sure that I'm up to speed with everybody else who is out here. All right, I'm up to speed with everybody. I'm going to definitely go into your questions. I see people asking about, Muhammad, the Quran, and so forth. I'm definitely going to get into this. Zoe321, man, I love your channel. Thanks for the support, King. We appreciate you in return. So now, that answers the questions about has the hieroglyphs been deciphered. We could spend a whole show and showing you and proving to you how the hieroglyphs has been deciphered, or how it's been kept for a very long period of time, and being taught openly, and how different cultures still speak and hold onto the hieroglyphic language. They still hold on to the cultures and so forth and so forth. But I don't really want to go into that today. What I really want to go into is the teachings of the great sage, the great scribe Djehuty, known as Hermes, Idris, and so forth. That's what I really, really want to go into today. My brother Konsu, I'm going to throw it back at you again. And then I'm going to keep on, let's keep on having this interaction. Let's keep on going back and forth. Everybody who's actually tuned in right now, everybody who's tuned in, please hit the share button, hit the like button as well, but hit the share button. Let everybody know that we're live right now on Talk with the Titans. I'm loving the love and I'm loving the support so far, because without no publicity, we have, over 84.5 people tuned in live right now. But I want to get those numbers up, please. Let's get those numbers up with no promotion, no publicity, but just because of the love of the information and the knowledge and the ability to actually interface with you guys, and you lot can ask questions, and we can try our best to delve into some books, some scriptures, anything that you want to go into. We're definitely going to go into today. But we're going to talk about, if you can actually, Konsu, can you give us an overview of all the things that Djehuty Thoth was actually, said to be the master and the inventor of? And then let's go into, I want to go into the liberal arts. That's one of my favorite pieces. So, please.
All right. Well, definitely. Well, the first things first, we're talking about Djehuty. Some would know as Tahuti with a T. You may hear it pronounced that way. You may hear Thoth, right? Or Hermes Trismegistus, which is the Hermetic principles. Now, what it deals with is mentalism, because the word Thoth or Djehuty is associated with philosophy or the science of the mind. And so there are principles or axioms that have been ascribed with Djehuty, because this is the thought process in which, or the way, or the prose in which a lot of the ancient pyramid text, funeral text of other various sorts are written. And the way that it's written and how it's written is in regards to your ability to decipher and understand on a certain mental capacity. And that means that as the Bible is written, the Quran and other religious texts, they actually took Kemetic prose or principles and styles of writing, not literal word for word, meaning bar for bar, but they took the style of how something was written and they used it in their religious forms, catering to their own cultural precepts. So you have different forms of inner spirituality, based on the moniker of know thyself. So you have things like Pythagoras' theorem. You have things like people like Herodotus that had certain methodologies that were based on the Djehuty thought system. So this was all about the mind, or knowing the mind. George G. M. James in Stolen Legacy would call it the nous. You would also have early forms of Christianity like the Gnostic religion, which would give accreditation to God, but would not put God in a particular form or space. And then that expanded into different forms of religion. So when we talk about, let me pull some notes here because I kind of want to say this verbatim. Hold on, bear with me 1 second. When we talk about Djehuty, he had axioms. He had 9 axioms, okay? And those axioms, or known to the Greeks, Hermes, it became a principle law. And these were laws of nature. And Djehuty was a lawgiver of Kemet. He wrote these laws based on morals and ethics established in the mind. So he had these principles. And the first one was the principle of mentalism, which is the all is mind, the universe is mental. So basically what goes on in this mind permeates to your mental. Now, and by it permeating to your mental, it permeates the universe. What we tend to not realize is, of course, your mind, where does it exist? Can you see it? Can you touch it? No, you can't, but you can feel the effects of it. What is the basis of the mind? Your physical brain, portions of the brain, the cerebral cortex, the brain stem, the occipital node, the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe. These are areas of the brain, the limbic system. These are all areas of the brain that when operating properly and in proper time, create this micro universe called the mind. So these principles allude to the connection of the physical to the non-physical, henceforth metaphysical, all right? So something that is beyond physical observation. The principle of mentalism, we also talk about the principle of correspondence. That would be the second axiom. And that is as above, so below. It's very popular, and as below, so above, that we've heard about. And this alludes to what I was saying earlier. We also have the principles of vibration, which nothing rests, right? Everything moves, everything vibrates. Now, I don't want to get too wordy because we're kind of going back and forth, myself and Brother Kalam. So I want to just give a brief overview. And I'm going to read a passage from the Papyrus of Ani later on, but I just want to give a segue to the proper methodology in which we're delivering this information, because we're talking about a pragmatic figure called Djehuty and how that methodology would use it in mentalism. The principle of polarity. Now, the principle of polarity is everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites, like and unlike, but they really are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. One of the prime examples of that is man and woman. We are alike as human beings, but we are different in degrees of gender. And also essence, which would be masculinity and femininity. So we are paradoxes of one another. Great example of that was done by Pythagoras when he says a squared plus b squared equals c squared, Pythagorean theorem. The a squared, the male, the b squared, female, creates c, or child, okay? Then we talk about the principles of gender. Well, the principle of gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. So gender, all planes, meaning all of us have both principles of gender within us, masculine and feminine properties, okay? We also have the principle of rhythm, all right? Everything flows out and in the Hermetic law, meaning that everything has its tides, rise and fall, okay? So that means that with everything that may be good for you, there's going to be the adverse at some point. So that's all about balancement and having rhythm with the universe mentally, okay? The principle of causality. This is basically cause and effect, okay? Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to this law. So chance is just law not recognized. Luck and things of chance, when we're talking in the Hermetic sense, really does not exist. Everything has a causation, all right? The principle of growth and creation. Manifestation of size altering from one point in time and space to another, hence the creation. That one point in the Quran, we talk about the nukta, in nukta Arabiya, where that nukta gives birth to that language or that word or that concept mentally. All right. So we're talking about the principle of growth and creation. And then the ninth axiom is the principle of breathing. It appears to be breathing inward and outward, right? But this appears to be the principle by which one acknowledges life. But in actuality, true life existed before the breath, because life was created in the mind, this area here, this halo. And when that happened, that inception became a thought. That thought then if uncurbed, became an emotion. That emotion led to an action. The principle of breathing, thoughts, emotion, and actions in that actual order. Okay. I'm going to turn it back over to Kalam because I don't want to get too wordy. Then when I come back, I'll talk about the actual 7 liberal arts. We'll get into the liberal arts, but go ahead, Kalam.
Definitely. You already know that's one of my favorite sections right there, is the 7 liberal arts. For those of you who don't know what the 7 liberal arts are, they literally, well, split up into two, but it has 7 constitutional parts, which is, the first one is the Trivium. The second part is the Quadrivium, and we'll definitely go into that. We're definitely going to go and break down the constitutional parts of the Trivium, which is obviously, first of all, we have logic, we have rhetoric, and we have, let me do that again. We have logic, we have rhetoric, and we have grammar. There you go. Even though it's really grammar, logic, and should be rhetoric afterwards. You first need to know how to read and write. Then you need to be able to how to understand that, have the capacity to actually use your brain, your organ, to actually understand that. Actually, to be honest with you, it's literally called that. When you go into Aristotle and you read his works, the first 5 portion is actually called the organon, which is literally means the organ, the actual instrument you need to use to be able to understand life in full. And then the next part is rhetoric, the art of oratory, to be able to persuade an audience or a crowd and sway them to your understanding or your point of view to get them where you need them to go. And obviously, we're going to go into Quadrivium later on, and we're going to show you how it all ties in into Masonry as well, ties into the Kemetics teachings, and it even ties a lot into ancient philosophy of the Greeks, the Kalam of the Arabs, and obviously the Christians took over from the Greeks as well. So we're definitely I'm gonna have to talk about all of these different things. Again, for those of you who are tuned in right now, please hit the like button. Furthermore, give me a big thumbs up. Let us know that you're loving the information so far. Hit the like button. Let us know that you're loving the information. But foremost of everything else is, please just drop your comments down below. Drop your comments, drop your questions, anything that you would like to know. We're definitely going to visit it, and we're definitely going to answer those questions right now. I'm just quickly taking a quick glance over at the comment section. All right, cool, perfect. What did I want to go into? I actually wanted to just make sure those people who are just tuning in now, seeing there's some questions, what is this really about, etc. And I'm just going to jump back in and say, this was kind of inspired from a comment that was posted up on Facebook by myself in regards to a particular prophet known amongst Muslims. I see that we have a lot of Muslims tuned in right now, and amongst the Christians and the Jews as Idris or Enoch. I'm just going to quote from some of your reference points, from some of your great authors alluding to this fact, or actually clearly stating this from this fact. This is another one. Earlier one, I quoted something from Al-Mubashir, but now I'm going to quote something from Al-Masudi, from the Muraj. And this is in chapter 1, verse 39 to 40. It says here, then came his son Enoch or Achnuk, who is Idris the prophet. Peace be upon him. The Sabians claim that he is Hermes. The meaning of Hermes is Mercury. It was he of whom Allah most glorious said in the book that he elevated him to a high place. He was the first tailor, the first to sew with needles, and 30 books of scriptures was revealed to him. We have also Yaqubi, Al-Yaqubi, who also gives a quote here. He says here, the sage or the Hakim, meaning the wise men or the wise person of the Copts, which is the Egyptians, is Hermes the Copt. They are the builders of the temples who write in the script of the temples, hieroglyphs, and here is how it looks. And then they give a picture of the hieroglyphs. And it says here, the sage, and in our time, nobody knows how to read it, because only the elite among them were writing in it. They would not allow the common people to do so. The ones in charge of it were the sages and priests. It had the secrets of their religion and the origins of science, which nobody was allowed to see but their priests, who did not teach it to anyone unless ordered to do so by the king. Their religion was the worship of planets, stars, and every 36,000 years, all that is in the world will perish, either from dust, meaning the earth, its earthquakes, and so forth. It gives a whole list, there's a whole litany of stuff, and this is written in Al-Yaqubi in the Tariq. Okay, I should really be giving you date stamps as well when these things are actually written. But I'm just to show you that, you know, what the ancient Egyptians had, the Kemetics have, wasn't so far removed from the biblical scriptures, wasn't so far removed from the Islamic scriptures. In fact, that the Muslims and the Jews and the Christians identified that this Djehuty, this Thoth, this Djehuty, this Hermes Trismegistus, the 3 times great, was actually part of their own heritage, being their prophet, being their sage, being Hermes, being Idris of the Quran, and being Enoch of the Bible. So just to get that into your minds, for those people who are coming from a religious background and you see all these things going on over in Kemet and you hear about these things, don't think that it's so far removed from your own particular ideology. I'm definitely trying to be inclusive as much as possible, because a lot of times, you know, we see these things and we get turned off by it because we're coming from a particular ideology and our blinders are on. But let's just take it in and get familiar with this information that we're actually giving today. I'm actually going to see, what do I want to touch on next? Actually, for real, you know what? I'm going to give you something as well for those of you lot who would like to know more about Egyptian thought or more about Kemetic thought in terms of in a format or a creed that is easily acceptable to you as well. And it says here, Garth Fowden, he's one of the most leading authors, actually. For those of you who are interested in the types of books that I read, Garth Fowden, this is this individual's here book. It says there, The Egyptian Hermes, A Historical Approach to the Late Pagan Mind, Garth Fowden. So this is this person here. This author, particular author, is quoting him. And it says he neatly summarizes the cosmos taught in the Hermetica. Now, the Hermetica is writings attributed to Djehuty, to Thoth, to Hermes, to Idris. And it says here, God is one and the creator of all things, which continue to depend on God as elements in a hierarchy of beings. Second, in this hierarchy after God himself comes the intelligible world, and then the sensible world. The creative and beneficent powers of God flow through the intelligible and sensible realms to the sun, which is the demiurge around which revolve the 8 spheres of the fixed stars, the planet and the earths. From these spheres depend the daemons, and from the daemons man, who is a microcosm of creation. Thus, everything is a part of God, and God is in everything. His creative activity continuing unceasingly. All things are one, and the pleroma of being is indestructible. So this is the Kemetic thought. This is the foundation of the Kemetic thought itself. You know, it's similar, but very much so removed from the you know, the Islamic thought, in the sense that God isn't really a part of his creation. It's not found inside of creation, although within inside of the Quran it does say that Allah is as closest to you as your jugular vein. But from Muslim perspective, Allah is not in his creation, although the Quran says that he breathed his spirit or soul into man, and man became a living soul. But from a Quranic, from an Islamic perspective, he's still not a part of his creation. But from an African mind frame, from an Egyptian mind frame, from an Ethiopian mind frame, you know, the Creator was seen and felt as part of nature, and his manifestations was a part of nature. And one of the most highest symbol, or one of the highest metaphors for the Creator, was the sun, because everything that we know and we see and we love comes from the sun. Without the sun, there would be no planets, there will be no earth, there will be no day, there will be no night, there will be no trees, there will be no plants, there will be no animals if it wasn't for the sun itself. So the sun is also the creator, and he's also the manager of time. So the ancient Egyptians saw that this symbol called the sun, or Ra, was actually a symbol for the Most High. But the Egyptians themselves, you know, somewhat revered or worshipped, for lack of a better term, the Amun Ra, the Ra that is hidden, the hidden Ra, the hidden sun, not the visible sun, which is his physical form, or the physical manifestation of the attributes of God, being the Most High, being the Creator, being the sustainer, and so forth, but the hidden attribute. So we're going to go into the hidden attribute a little bit later on, and we're also going to be going into the different books of teachings that Djehuty actually bought. Right now, actually, I'm going to delve into, who am I going to delve into? I'm going to delve into Clement, who is writing, I believe, in the 2nd century, right in the 2nd century in Egypt. He's a Christian, and he actually states the different books that was attributed to Djehuty. It says here, it describes the procession of Egyptian priests, each carrying the symbols and books associated with his particular position in the hierarchy. Altogether 42 fundamental treatises, okay, are mentioned, and Clement attributes them all unequivocally to Hermes. Their subject matter is as follows, in order in which Clement mentions them. He says the hymns to the gods, the accounts of the king's life, the astrological books of the fixed stars, of the sun, the moon, the conjunction, the phases of the sun and the moon, the times, the star rises, the hieroglyphic books, the construction of the temples, the Nile, the dedication to the temples, books on education and the art of sacrifice, dealing in particular festivities, the heretic books on laws, the gods, the whole, the medical books, and so forth and so forth. But what I really want to focus now is the books on education. These are the most important tools that I personally believe every human being should have once they've reached the stage of maturity, that they're not ready, or they're tired of being fooled and tricked into believing things. And they now want to actually free themselves. When we go into the liberal arts and we talk about liber literally means to be free, okay? And it's actually a dual word, or what's the word called? Not an onomatopoeia. Is it onomatopoeia? What's the word called now? I can't remember the word itself. But basically it has a dual meaning, not only just being free, but it also has a meaning of book, meaning education. In order to free yourself, you first must be educated. Every free man and every Freemason after that knows, first and foremost, he needs to be educated, and he needs to become a builder within inside of himself, and to build a better future in the external world. So what we're going to touch on right now is the 7 liberal arts as exposed within inside of the Trivium and the Quadrivium, which is also found inside of great organizations and fraternities and mystical orders, as well as academia today. So I'm going to pass that right over to my brother Konsu right now.
Yeah, definitely, Kalam. That's one thing I think that's kind of misunderstood, and why Masonic guilds were created. It is for you to be a productive individual in society and deal with things in a rational manner. So when we talk about the 7 liberal arts, these are things that help you become self-governed, self-induced, and actually self-healing, because you're doing it with knowledge, understanding, and then wisdom. Now, the Trivium is, of course, grammar, rhetoric, and logic. Now, it's not necessarily in that order, depending upon the school of Trivium. Some people in that school of Trivium kind of move them around, kind of shuffle them around in different aspects. When you talk about knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, they're juxtaposed to grammar, logic, and then rhetoric. That's generally in that order. If I gave you a picture of a tree, just to give you a visual, look at the tree. Let's say the tree is transparent from the ground up. So that means that you can see the roots of the tree, the trunk of the tree, and the blossom of the tree. So take the roots of the tree as the knowledge, okay? So then take the trunk of the tree as the tree sprouts. The trunk comes next, okay? Take that as the wisdom. Well, take the trunk of the tree, excuse me, as the understanding. Okay, so you've attained knowledge. Let's say you gained some knowledge. So now you've planted a seed. Now those roots are firmly in place because you've gained the knowledge. Now the knowledge is starting to expand as you tend to understand it. That would be the trunk of the tree, right? That would be the strength of the tree. Then as the tree continues to grow and matures into wisdom, okay, that would be the wisdom you attain. That would actually be the fruits that the tree bears, be it the leaves or the fruits on the leaves. So this is how we process things. This is how we as naturalists or pastoralists, even African people in African philosophy, the tree was very revered because of this exact principle. Knowledge, the understanding of the knowledge you attain, and the ability to expand on that understanding through wisdom. Henceforth, the mind, the expansion of the mind. So understanding these 7 liberal arts. Now, these 7 liberal arts, basically, you have grammar, you have rhetoric, and you have logic. That is the first portion of the 7 liberal arts. From that point, you also have arithmetic, not mathematic, arithmetic, not mathematics, okay? Arithmetic, geometry, music, and then astronomy. So these 7 sciences actually encompass the society of understanding and knowledge. When we understand and have knowledge of our understanding in these 7 liberal arts, free arts, okay, you are able to attain wisdom and apply wisdom in understanding these 7 liberal arts. Now, each of them have a distinction, right? When we talk about grammar, and Brother Kalam had already kind of alluded to this already, it's like what you learn in elementary school. You know, you recite the alphabet, numbers and colors. You get your fundamentals down. You learn the fundamentals of a thing. Now, it's not isolated. Grammar is not isolated to literal grammar. Let's say language. It means it has a deeper meaning, an esoterical meaning, meaning a deeper meaning. It means the general understanding of building blocks of life. Look at grammar as an infant that has been born. A newborn is now an infant. This is the grammar stages of anything. When you create thought, you're going through grammar stages, right? Now we go into rhetoric, which is the art of persuasion. Where it can also be, persuasion can be beauty. It can be a way that you captivate, being pragmatic, being a great speaker, or the way that you may play basketball, or you're gifted at something, just your own unique style, your imprint. That is rhetoric. And then we get into logic, which is the ability to rationalize with yourself without outside influence, to be able to be subject to rhetoric and grammar and still maintain your logic, because you need proper inductive and deductive reasoning in order to understand the truth and accept it as fact. If your rationale is not in order, then it will distort your logic. In understanding that, we go into what is called, what was made popular by Pythagoras, which is Pythagoras' theorem, is the building of self, okay? This 3-dimensional existence. And in those three-dimensional existences, we have the quadrivium, the other 4 of the 7 liberal arts, going into arithmetic, which the computation or reckoning with numbers, the ability to see the height, width, and depth of something, all right? This thing keeps things tangible and attainable, all right? Then we talk about geometry. Well, geometry deals with geometric, Earth's measurement, the understanding of your conscious awareness, being able to be in tune with one another. So that is geometry, and you deal with things that are measurable and immeasurable. So when we talk about the mind, we really can't measure the mind, but we feel the effects of it and we know it exists. We can't measure the sun, but we see the sun. This is the tie in which the people of Kemet, and actually the most important liberal art, expounded on when we talked about Ra or Ra, Amun Ra. The hidden Ra is within. That is relative to the exoteric Ra, which is the sun that you see. All right. Then we talk about music. We look at music, we talk about a rhythm. I talked about that in the axioms of Djehuty. Your timing, your flow, where you fit in, how you fit in all the divine puzzles. None of us are ignorant to anything. Actually, all of us have a particular intelligence or mindset. Intelligent and mind mean the same thing. They're synonymous. You have a certain intelligence or gift that you, the seeker, the traveler, must tap into. And once you find that gift, it becomes music. It becomes a melody. It becomes harmonious with life, the rhythm of life. This is what music ultimately alludes to. And then when we get into astronomy, we get into the grand, you're the grand architect of creation. You are this master builder. You are the creator. How did I get here? Why did I get here? So now we study the celestial bodies, the astral bodies, of trying to figure out who am I, what am I, how am I, where am I, when am I? Now we start to question things, but now we have the rationale because we have a base of trivium, a base of 3. So we understand thoughts, emotions, and actions, which will allow us to get into the beauty of the arts of existing, which are those 4 arts. So that's the basic overview of the 7 liberal arts. Go ahead, Kalam. Go ahead, bro.
Jeez, I'm loving that. I'm loving that right there. Man just broke down how the builder died and the architect was born. For those who know, they know. You know what? Let's get into this now. Let's get into this. I'm seeing a lot of you lot are just here and you're listening and you're attentive, and I'm loving the attention that you're actually giving us right now in terms of listening to the information and actually taking in the information. But what I want to do before, because we're not even trying to run this show for too long. What I want to do is get some feedback from you guys right now. So if you've got any questions, please post them up. If you want to come in to the Hangout right now, I can definitely leave the link down below for you lot to join in. If you're already with us on Talk with the Titans, we have a group page called Talk with the Titans, about 5,000 members actually in our Talk with the Titans group page. So if you want to come in via that stream, please go on to Facebook and go on to Talk with the Titans. If you want to just DM me in terms of Facebook as well, you can go to Kalam SPL, and I'm pretty sure my information is right here in terms of my personal Facebook page, the Talk with the Titans Facebook page, the Facebook group Talk with the Titans as well. So if you want to get in contact and you would love to have the Hangouts link to be able to join us right now, please let me just read one of these comments out here. It says here, I'm actually reading Stolen Legacy right now, where it talks about the 7 virtues and such. Let's see if I've got it right here. Yeah, I think I do in my bookshelf. So yeah, we've got George GM James,
my favorites.
One of my favorites too. Definitely George GM James, Stolen Legacy, great book to read, but I would advise you to actually research further, go and find the sources, go and find your reference points, and make sure that the information is right and exact for yourself. I hate when people come forward with information but never check the references. That's the most important thing. It's not actually the content of the book that is most valuable. I find it's actually the footnotes that has the extra information that you definitely need. So yeah, we're going to be taking some comments. We've got people inside of our panel section right now. We've got brother Kufu, who's here with us. We've got Ibrimath Yazoo with us right now. So if you would like to join us, please type your questions inside of the comment section right now or down below in the comment section, and we definitely will try our best to actually answer your questions. So let's get it. How to get on the panel. You know what? Let me do this. So while I'm talking, I'm going to put up the panel link inside of the comment section, the description box down below, so you can actually join in with us as well. If you would like to as well, and you're in London and you want my UK telephone number, I will definitely send that over to you as well. So let's get into this. Let's get into this. I'm definitely going to leave a link. But what I'm going to do, since we've got some panel members right here, I'm going to open up the floor to Ibri Math Yazoo. I'm going to open up the floor to you right now. So if you've got anything that you would like to say, anything that you disagree with, agree with, comment on, please comment right away as I post up the link for everybody else inside of YouTube world to actually join in, all of our titans to actually join in and have a discourse with us.
Shalom, shalom. Thank you again, Kalam, for allowing me to be on your channel and everything. But I wanted to go over some of the things that were said and just ask some questions about some things that I know, me being Hebrew and of the faith of the Bible and Christian and things like that. I know that people watch this and they want to know, where you brothers are coming from. So when I put my questions kind of in the notes and I'm gonna just read from them. You know what I mean? So the Hebrew word, the word Thoth or Djehuty or Djehuty or whatever, or Hermes, which one of these words are original to that mindset or that deity that's claimed to be from Kemetic?
You want to answer that, Kalam, or you want me to answer
I'll definitely answer that. Wow, I got the washing machine going on right now. I could just see my whole background just shaking. It's like an earthquake right about now. So yeah, let's get into this. The word Hermes actually is coming from the Greek. The Greeks introduced the term Hermes into the mix, but the actual ancient Egyptians had a term for Djehuty known as Djehuty. One of the oldest references you will find is the word Djehuty. Djehuty for Djehuty. So that is kind of DJ sound, which depending on linguistics and depending on which nome or region of Egypt, because Egypt had about 4 to 5 different dialects. You have the Fayumic dialect, you have the Southern Sahidic dialect, you have the Cairo, the in North dialect. Yeah, different types of dialects. So depending, the DJ sound would sound as a J, sound as a T, and a sound as a D. But let's just say it's J, and then the remaining of its term is Hoot or Houti, Djehuty. The ancient Egyptians themselves never really elucidated to exactly what the word Djehuty means. There's a lot of speculation in terms of ancient Egyptian linguists as to what the actual word means. What does it mean? Where does the term come from? Does it mean the word Djehuty literally means coming from a place called Djehuty? But one of the most authoritative view on the word Djehuty, it literally means a messenger, because we have inside of the ancient Egyptian language Houti, which literally means messenger, and then we also have his symbol, which is the Hab, or which is the abyss symbol, which is Hab. But we also find that the word Hab as well is actually messenger as well. So we find 2 places where we have some type of homonym, one word sounding the same but having 2 different meanings. So one of the most authoritative kind of pushed forward assertion is that the word means messenger, but truly no one actually knows, because it's so far back into history, predates the Old Kingdom, goes back into prehistoric Egypt, where we don't really have too much written records. People don't actually know what the word Djehuty truly mean.
Okay. What I want, the second question, the follow-up question to that is, how is it that they know that Djehuty or Hermes is a scribe? In particular, I'm saying that because when a person says that, he taught these different religions and things like that, where I know when you say thought, I know what that actually means, and it's talking about a scribe. So who identified that deity as a scribe? And if you don't know what the word technically means, how could they identify him as that?
Okay. Very good question. If you are familiar with ancient Egyptian texts, let me just see if I can pull up something right now. As you can see right here, this is going from the Book of the Dead, from the Papyrus of Ani. Let's see if I can get a really nice picture for you guys. He is this character right here. This character right here is the person called Djehuty. He's got the abyss mask on, and if you can see, he's holding up a palette with a pen, and he is ascribing or recording the accounts of the judgment scene. He's the only actual deity you see painted as a scribe, having the sesh ribbon across his chest, and in various different places in terms of the pyramid text, coffin text, Book of the Dead, and so forth, and even inside of Greek literature as well as Jewish literature as well. They record him as being the scribe. So it's not something that is a new term. It's dating all the way back from the Old Kingdom, in Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom, Late Kingdom, Ptolemaic kingdoms, and so forth. He is vastly known as a scribe.
Absolutely. I agree that he is a scribe. I was just wondering how you all were validating that he was. Of course, it's according to the hieroglyphs that you see, a mark or a pen. I'll get to the next question, then I'll mute my mic. When you were saying that Ra is the reason why you see everything here, the reason why the grass grows and why the, flowers bloom and all of these different things, I was wondering, why isn't it that Ra has any power on Mars or Venus or any of these other planets where you don't see the grass growing, you don't see life coming there? I wanted to know why that was.
Okay, so if I get the question is correct, we see the effects and influences of Ra, the sun, on the earth with the grass growing, etc., 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 but we don't see the same influence and effect on Venus and Mars with the plants, so what's it called, fauna life, etc., growing there. The answer is I want to keep it as simple as possible. It's all determined by the measurement of the orbit of the sun's distance to the different planets. So in certain regions, the planet is too close to the sun, so it's completely arid or desert. For example, in the Sahara, it's so close, near to the equator. The sun has the most potency to that region, so therefore it's completely barren. Nothing can technically grow from it unless the sun's distance is now moved off a few degrees or inches, whatever you want to say. Then it gives room for life to grow. And in other places, the planet is so far away from the sun's orbit. It's too cold, it's too dark, it has so many different reasons as why the energy from the sun is not hitting it equally to give it the life that it needs. So that's kind of the reason. So for example, we see that on the two poles of this earth. So we can look at the macrocosm, or we can look at the microcosm in terms of the earth itself. We can see the extremities of the sun being too close in terms of its potency reaching the earth, and we see sand and desert life. And then we see it being so far away as in terms of the Antarctica, and we see that it's so cold. So it's still barren of life because the sun's energy potency is not heating the earth in those regions as it does in other regions where it's quite is flourishing with different animal lives and different plant lives. So that's the reason.
Okay, so Ra would not be considered omnipotent or anything like that. Am I correct?
Ra, okay, so again, there is Ra, which is the deity Ra, and then we have the symbolic Ra, meaning the sun. So it's dependent upon which one are you talking about, because they both, again, they are homonyms, meaning that they sound exactly the same, they appear the same, but when you go into the actual Egyptian hieroglyphs and you see it, each one of them has a different determinative, letting you know that it's Ra, the sun, and then there is Ra, the deity. For example, in the Igbo language, you could say Chi or Chukwu, and it means the sun. But we also know is Chi or Chukwu again literally means the deity Chi or the deity Chukwu. So we technically saw the sun as a symbol or as an icon, as a living symbol of the hidden powers of the omnipotent deity. And I'm going to leave it like that, as the omnipotent deity is simply a symbol of the omnipotent deity.
I want to add to that, Brother Kalam, if I can.
Definitely.
That's okay. Because those are good questions. And this is why I kind of alluded to mentalism, because certain texts over a period of time have been taken into a literal realm from a literary realm. When we talk about the text of Kemet, we talk about literary text, literature, not literal, meaning actual existence in a physical form that is indicative to the law of physics. We're talking about beyond physics, we're talking about the realm of Djehuty, which is the realm of thought. So when you ask questions as of why isn't life the same here, let's say it's Mars or the moon, is because our definition of life can only be understood here, because we created that term life with the atmosphere that we have here. There probably is life that we think in our mind neurologically on the moon, but we haven't been able to observe it yet or even comprehend it. If so, who knows? Could be, couldn't be. But in the Kemetic text, what it talks about is the inner existence of the self that is in connection to nature that produced self. So we leave the nature where it is in its position as being all. So when we talk about Ra gives life to the earth gives life to us. We plant a seed, the sun shines down on the seed, it sprouts forth life, we eat it, we are in communion with Ra. This is, and Pythagoras said it in his culture construct as A squared, man being one of himself, mates with B squared, woman being one of herself, both of them being in the image and likeness of their creator, giving birth to addition, summation, which is C. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. The operator being addition is the similar thought of the Kemetic people saying addition, subtraction, division, and multiply. It's just done in a naturalist way. So it's all about syntax and understanding your particular lingua franca or language phylum and your ability to assimilate or comprehend what's being said. Because most of us understand language, but it's the comprehension, and we have to respect different cultures and how they assimilated at the time that they did. So that's what makes Djehuty and that particular methodology of discernment very dynamic and also very influential in other literary works, like the Papyrus of Ani, which was not a literal work. It was a literal work. It was literature to express a mentalism or a mental perception of creation. So that's what that was about, and I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Again, if you've got any questions that you would like to ask, okay, the link, let me just make sure, let me double check for you. Let me share my screen for you right now, entire screen. Let's share it right now. Let's go. Here we go. Right here, Kemetic Mystery System in the Bible, Quran, and Freemasonry. It says here link panel. And we've got a link panel right here. And if you just click right here, if you've got a Google Hangouts application on your phone or on your laptop, you'll be able to come straight in with us and you'll be able to talk. Again, I'm seeing somebody here says, Lamb of God, I am a subscriber. That's excellent. So if, again, this is your first time actually viewing Titans TV and you would like to actually subscribe and hear great information like this and all the great information that we post on Speakers from Speakers Corner, please hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that subscribe button right now. It says click now, hit the subscribe button, join us and be up to date. Get regular updates. Just hit the notification icon as well to get updates on your phone when we post new videos. We do two main shows on the channel, which is Speakers Corner, where we literally house, most prolific minds, I would have to say, within side of the UK and beyond, come to this one singular spot to actually share information. And, it's literally thought-provoking information that's there to change your worldview. So I'm seeing that we've got a brother that's just joined in. Just keep your mic muted, and then I'm going to invite you in real shortly. So yeah, we got Speakers Corner, and we also got Talk with the Titans. We have shows like this where the great titans of our community come in and actually deliver some information for us, give us some presentation, and we get to learn something new or even expand our mind on topics that we may already even know. So I'm seeing here, I'm just going through the comments. When the Quran talks about the earth and carpets, okay, and so forth. Okay, so yeah, I definitely want to go into some more questions. So if you've got any more questions, people, if you've got any more, if you've got any more questions, please leave them for us right now so we can answer them. But what I want to do is actually introduce or reintroduce our members of the panel. We've got my brother who's joined us, Brother Melvin from Team Osiris. Peace to you, King. And we've also got, let me just make sure you lot see his icon like I'm talking to myself. Then we've also got my brother Kufu as well. Peace to you, King, brother Kufu.
Peace. What's good?
Peace. Team Osiris on the horizon.
You already know.
All right.
Hey, let me see if you could maybe you brothers could answer this question, because I see you doing with the Kemetic system and some masonry. And most of that deals with initiatory practices. So, when you dealt with the pyramid text, you see it was like most of, some of the places that, the Nasut was able to go was strictly for the Nasut, to be a blessed, in the blessed realm. And then you get to the Middle Kingdom, and then the New Kingdom is kind of like more people have the opportunity to have that connection or have that, to transform into one of these beings, to relocate to one of these places. And we have the Pope, who, he basically says he's the one who has a connection with, with God. How does that play a part into the average day citizen? How do they have that connection? They have to be initiated. What can they do to initiate themselves or to develop their mind to gain access to that initiatory information?
Peace, King, peace. You know the answer to this question, man. You're posing the question. I want you to answer that question and educate everybody out there, because you're like a silent, hidden hand. Like, come on, man. Teach the people, man. Teach the people. Let them know.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to get your interpretation, or Brother Consul's interpretation of it. Your show is going very well. I'm enjoying it myself. I'm actually going to read Stolen Legacy probably this weekend. Consul, you want to speak on that?
Yeah, I can speak on it. It's the initiatory system is symbolical. It's of course, being a literalist is kind of misleading in the initiatory systems, because we're talking about mentalism. And in the mental world, we're dealing with an inner meaning. And to be prepped, or to be a neophyte in an initiatory system, your mind has to have a regimental process of assimilating outside information, basically developing your intelligence or your intellect, what you take in and process or eat, brain food, okay? Mental food. So you have to have a system that is indicative of your discipline. So you don't necessarily have to have a particular requirement to be involved in an initiatory system. You actually have the ability to be subservient and the will to be taught it. That's a layman's understanding of it, because the system of reasoning, and then using that system of reasoning to develop your acceptance of truths and facts, which are not necessarily one and the same. You must be developed. And you're developed in the art of knowledge, understanding that knowledge, and expressing those two skills through wisdom. Your unique ability to express the mastery of the foregoing, knowledge and understanding. So knowledge, understanding, and wisdom in that order leads to proper thoughts, proper emotions, and proper actions in that order. So when your knowledge, understanding, and wisdom are in place, it stops you from having perverted thoughts that lead to uncurbed emotions that ultimately will lead to destructive actions. So when understanding those things, it puts you in a self-governing position to have a proper perspective and objective to what you're being subject to. Because sometimes people are subject to things and don't really have the ability to be objective about it. They just allow themselves to be subject to something. So this gives you the ability to know thyself and govern thyself accordingly to that knowledge. So that's really the basic fundamentals on that.
All right, okay. Sir, but I'm there trying to pull up. I'm there looking for my drive, trying to pull up some information for people who's asking questions. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time. So let me just quickly invite other people into the conversation. So we've got a brother who's joined us, Brother Tanzim. Peace to you, King. Peace. Or mute your mic and just let us know how you actually found out about Titans TV and how you actually got here today.
So I was just surfing the net, and I saw some of the debates that you guys post. Very interesting.
Excellent.
Do you guys like schedule these debates with the people who debate each other in Speaker's Corner, or is it like spontaneous? You just find it?
Okay, it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. Some of them are actually spontaneous interactions. Others are, it's organized. I try to organize a lot of, powerful individuals to come together and actually have debates. So it's a bit of both spontaneous and organized debates.
I see. And also, do you think that in order to verify certain verbal genealogies, like people who claim to be, like the Queen claims to be related to Prophet Muhammad, or like the King of Jordan saying, or you have a bunch of people saying they're related to some king from some African group in, from an ancient realm of some sorts. Is that DNA analysis should be used to prove if certain genealogies are actually true, or is this like something that we can't touch because this is a matter of belief and not matter of, I don't know, like the physical realm of this world?
Okay, well, that depends upon your own, understanding and perspective of life. Some people think that things like that are too sacrilegious to actually undergo and take. So, for example, to find out, let's just say, for example, if somebody's related to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to actually go into Medina, dig up his tomb, take out his bones, and actually get DNA material from him to actually trace back your own DNA to see if you have the same markers as he particularly has. Some people will be, that's sacrilegious. Astaghfirullah, you cannot do that. Other people,
no, but they I think in Kuwait they have a huge strand of his genetic code. Like literally, they have a hair, a clump of hair of the Prophet, apparently. Mm-hmm. And this is like in a museum somewhere in Arabia. So I was just wondering, like, if we could just take one, and just, you don't have to go to his grave. You could just take a strand of hair and then analyze that.
That's right. I'm with you. I'm with you. Definitely. If the authorities to be will allow that to happen, then why not? What it would prove, it would still take a leap of faith for somebody who is of a critical mind to be like, where did that actual hair come from? Does it date back to the time of the Prophet Muhammad? Does it actually date back to, or can we identify, do we have some type of lineage to know that it is actually his particular DNA? So a lot of these times it gets a bit sketchy. We do definitely have records of individuals claiming to be from particular kings, claiming from being particular queens. You may have oral traditions, going back for hundreds of years saying that you come from these people. You may have written records going back for hundreds of years saying you come from this particular noble person. But then you can also do DNA exams as well, and find out if you are from a particular grouping of people. I'm not going to say a particular person or particular group of people, a particular grouping of people. We can definitely do those things. But again, it takes a leap of faith to now self-identify. For example, if my DNA goes back to Ghana, for example, and I want to now say, sorry, in the Mali Empire, Ghana Empire, Mali Empire, yes. You know, my DNA now dates back to Mansa Musa. I can't prove that my DNA goes back to Mansa Musa, but I can say it comes from the same grouping or cluster as Mansa Musa. And we may have written or oral records saying that I come from Mansa Musa, but yet again, it may take a leap of faith from an observer perspective to say, yes, this person definitely does come from that lineage. But let me just quickly move on real quickly, because I definitely want everybody else to kind of have their say. But I want to know, where exactly are you calling from?
About me?
Yeah.
I'm from New Jersey.
New Jersey. Excellent. Excellent. I love that. So we have...
where's everyone here from, besides you being from Britain?
So we have Chicago in here. We also have Florida up in here. I believe New York might be up in here as well. We have different people. Let me just find out. We have PM. Peace to you, King. We've got somebody called PM. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm just listening in, soaking in the knowledge. Yeah, I'm calling from. I'm a subscriber to your channel for a couple of I think years now.
Okay.
I've been following you for some time now. So yeah, I just come across it now and try to hang with you guys.
Excellent, excellent. And what region of the world are you calling from?
Yeah, I am in Sweden.
Sweden.
Stockholm, yeah.
Wow, Stockholm. So we've got, you know, across the world, we've got Europe and we've got Americas calling in right now. I'm loving that. I'm loving seeing that we have people all around the world tuned in to Titans TV and, you know, getting information in. Let's get information in some more. So I'm going to quickly go through the comment sections right now and see what we actually have here. If the panel would like to actually talk with each other, please talk with each other whilst I actually pull up some great comments or questions to actually read out. All right. So let me see. Okay. So I'm hearing this. The silence is deafening. The silence is deafening. So you know what, brother Konsu, if you would like to
you want to get it popping?
Yeah, let's get it popping. Come on, King.
Yeah, we didn't know who you was directing that to. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
We definitely can get it popping. Well, the liberal arts, like the show is pretty good. I love studying the liberal arts, and actually is every facet of our life in one way or another has some aspect of liberal arts, and it's involved in it. I actually studied it, and to people who are out there who are really truly interested in studying liberal arts, you should take us some courses, some online courses, and different aspects of just literature. Don't get stuck into one form of literature. Ancient Egyptian literature is the most classical literature because it's the oldest, but you have very good literature in Greece, Rome, and other aspects of Africa. So I know a lot of people get stuck in one area of learning due to culturalism, but there's a whole wealth of information out there that would actually, if you just had an open mind and an open heart to it, may lead you to a direction or an inspiration that you probably would have never gotten before. So you definitely have to be open-minded when it comes to studying literature and older literature in order to, try to be creative and innovative, come up with something new, be more artistic with yourself. It's all about being creative. And I think there's an aspect of the Ka, which is an aspect of your creative will, your intentions and stuff like that, your personality. So we're supposed to be as creative as possible. So the liberal arts give you keys which can lead you in those directions. And a lot of people, for some reason, they get stuck in certain forms or certain studies. But you should definitely be open-minded and grasp all that's out there. and see where the rabbit hole leads you.
One good thing about the 7 liberal arts, it because I'm having a chat now with one of our panelists, it limits egotistical acts. There are things like ego and superego that are healthy for the existence of mankind. Your existence is as limiting or as expansive as your actual mind is. If your mind is limited, your perception of your existence will be in tune. So your physical existence also is just as important as your mental existence, because your physical existence will support and give energy to your mental existence. They go hand in hand. So in understanding certain things, attaining knowledge, well, knowledge is information. Getting an understanding of things, well, that's mastery, being benevolent, just like in Islam, being peaceful and benevolent to mastering a thing, becoming in tune with a thing. And then when you apply it or give expression, it is wisdom. So when we look at these kind of things, we have to deal with the self. And a lot of us do not want to be encompassed in the responsibility. An African proverb that I like when it comes to the 7 liberal arts that is indicative of it is Ubuntu, which is I am, we are. And in that aspect of thinking in African philosophy, what it states is that if you try to correct a fool will hate you. But if you correct a wise man, he will appreciate it. Because there is no difference. It is a war of polarized opposites. We are all one continuous vibration in this particular existence that we agree to exist. We are because we say we want to be. We agree that money is what it is and it becomes. Kun fire kun. We say it is, so it shall be. So mote it be. So when we give energy to things, it is because of our mental awareness and ability to push that through thought. Djehuty. Give reverence to by speaking it. So again, the 7 liberal arts is a very, very encompassing skill. That's why it's an art. And that's why it is free, because your thoughts are free. And what you indoctrinate or take in as intelligence, intel, information, it is up to you to take that rough ashlar, that rough stone, and carve it into a beautiful diamond, hone it down to a shining diamond, and show the work that you've done. And diamonds go through pressure. So these are things that these are allegorical terms that you use for relativity, because we live by definitions. So words define us. So we use different words to give us an allegorical tie to our mental and our mental awareness. First principle of Djehuty. The all is mental, mental is all. Go ahead.
I'm loving that. I'm loving that. You know what? There's so much more that we need to kind of elucidate to our listening audience right now. But unfortunately, we're actually running out of time. I don't know if you lot want us to, push out another show for you guys, or if you don't want us to continue what we're doing. If you do, just please let us know. Let us know in the comment section that you definitely want us to give you some more information, and we will deliver that information to you. So, but we've literally gone past the time mark that we wanted to spend on this show. Hopefully we could close it down at the 1 hour and a half mark. What is the time right now? Yeah, we're literally hitting that 1 hour and a half mark right now. And I definitely want to close it down. But I want to thank everybody who's actually come in and watched so far. And if you want us to continue, we may just post up a new link for you lot to tune into. So if you are here right now, stay tuned in for the alerts. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button so the notification can quickly pop up and let you know that we've got a new show on right now. And if there's any other questions, I'm seeing there's a lot of questions upon Muhammad, a lot of questions upon Islam. What else is there? There's so many stuff just literally coming in, talking about the Fitra, talking about the Deen, Peace Titans TV, Peace Heru, GMR Jones, and so forth. So, you know what? If there's any more questions that you would like us to actually, or any topics that you would like us to actually delve into, I'm sure my brothers are up right now. And we'll definitely go into some topics with you. But I want to close this one out, and then we can go into something else. Courtney, my sister, my queen, pieces. We're definitely gonna have to have you on the next show as well. reincarnation, philosophy, rhetoric. You know what? So much things are popping off within inside of the comment section. I'm loving the feedback, guys. Please hit the share button. Hit the share button. Share it on YouTube, your Facebook, your Google, your Reddit. I don't even know, Instagram, wherever you can share this link. Please hit the share button and get everybody into watching the shows, participating. Because you know what? These shows will be nothing if it wasn't for your participation. You coming on the panel, you posting your questions and comments on Facebook and on YouTube as well. So please keep on posting up. Please keep on showing the love, and we'll definitely see. We're gonna have a private conversation right now. So if you want to get in, there's literally about 3 spaces remaining. If you want to get in right now, whilst we go off air, go down into the link section. It says panel link. You can join us right now and actually conversate with our Titans who are here right now. So I'm going to actually close down the show. But Konsu, if you have any last words, please just drop it right now. And I'm going to close down this show and hopefully open up a new show if time permits. All right. I'm going to close it down right now. So thank you guys for watching us. And please just stay tuned, subscribe and stay tuned, because there should be a new link popping up real soon. And I'm going to look at your questions and topics that you keep posting up so ferociously before the dying minutes. And I'm definitely going to upload a new show. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Talk with the Titans. I've been your host, Kalam L. And we've also had Team Osiris, Brother Konsu, here with us, as well as Kufu, signing out, and Ibri Mafia Zoo. Peace.